New starter install. We're gonna try for the first time. Turn it to on. And let's try to start it. Woo! Yeah! So this is kind of a crazy deal. Let me tell you what all's happened. We spent a week getting the boat ready. We set out from Jacksonville, and the first day predict wind was wrong. We were supposed to have 13 to 15 knots on the beam, be able to sail to St. Augustine, and we had 12 to 15 knots on the nose all day with 8 to 10 foot seas on the beam, and 2 out of 3 of the crew member chummed the fish and got really seasick. We won't say who, but so we made it to St. Augustine after about 8.5 hours of motoring. Picked up a ball. We ripped a sail that day. We put our sails out as we were coming out the St. Johns River inlet. Ripped the mainsail just a little bit, but so we picked up a ball and stayed there an extra day. Made an appointment with a sail loft in Fort Lauderdale for that Friday, and the next morning we headed back out. Got back out in the Atlantic, put the sails out. We were doing great, making about 8 knots. Turned the motor off. Realized that our solar panels weren't charging, so we run the batteries down a little bit and decided to kick the motor on to charge the batteries, and the motor wouldn't start. Mayhem ensued as I ripped the inside of the boat apart trying to figure out why our motor wouldn't start. Was it our start battery? Was it our motor? Was it our starter? Was it what? There was nothing. I worked on it for a couple of hours. There was nothing we could do. So we sailed all day. We had great winds that day, 13 to 17 knots, kind of coming from the rear port quarter. Kind of a broad reach kind of deal, and so we waited till we were a little bit north of the Ponce Inlet and called Towboat. We have a Towboat Unlimited membership. They towed us in the Ponce Inlet and up to a little marina who allowed us to emergency dock at their fuel dock in Port Orange called Seven Seas Marina. We sat there for a couple of days waiting on a starter to come UPS. Marcus had some issues with work that were pretty pressing, and he didn't know what was going to happen with the weather, so his family was still in Florida. They had been to Disneyland, and so they just picked him up before they left, and he went home. So we lost a really vital crew member, and we got our starter in, we throwed it on, and we were on top of the world. The motor started, we were back mobile, we were ready to go. Check the weather, and hello, Tropical Storm Eta. So we decided to come on down to Titusville. So Tim and I motored about 5.5 hours down the ICW to Titusville and picked up a ball for a night, and then got a spot here at Kennedy Point Marina in Titusville, right across from the SpaceX launch pad. And got on the phone with Amber, and we decided we needed to regroup because of the storm, because of the problems we had. We still need to get our sail fixed, and decided that maybe we're not going all the way back to Texas. Maybe we're going to do something different. So right now we have decided we're just going to sit right here for a little while. Amber will be done with her job New Year's and be headed this way, and we may just sit here and put our boat back together and wait on her and decide what we're going to do then. And in the meantime, me and Tim will get a couple little jobs, and we'll make enough money to feed ourselves. So yeah, it's been crazy. We ripped a sail, we had a starter go out, we got towed in. We fixed the starter. We had a tropical storm, which we rode out in this marina, by the way, and it was crazy. Tropical storms suck. We had our first man overboard trying to pick up a ball at Titusville. Tim slipped off the front deck. Luckily we were stopped and we weren't out in the ocean, but that was interesting. Coming into this new marina, they didn't tell us if you hang a hard left when you come into the marina, it's really shallow, so we ran aground for a second. There was 30 knot winds when we were trying to dock here because the storm was already here, so there was no way to go stern to, so we bowed in and tied up and were stern to the storm. So of course this hunter with the flat backside slapped and banged, and it was crazy ridiculous. So me and Tim actually got a motel room for 2 nights because it was impossible to sleep in the boat. Yesterday the winds kind of laid and the storm kind of passed, and we had a little window, so we got her spun around to where now she's nose into the prevailing winds and she's a lot more comfortable. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We're gonna regroup. It's not over by any means. I'm not deterred in the least. I'm not gonna let a little rip in a sail and a starter and a little tropical storm put off a dream. It's almost impossible for me and Tim to do it by ourselves. So we're just gonna make this home for a couple of months and wait on Amber, and we'll decide where we want to go from there. We've talked about maybe going to the Keys or the West Palm Beach area and staying for a while. Maybe going around by Tampa. She's got some family there. We might stay in Tampa Bay or Crystal River or something, but the talk is kind of leaning more towards staying in Florida than going back to Texas, that's fine with me. But everybody's safe. We made it through the storm. We got some 40, 45 gusts to 50 knots. Nothing too crazy, but nothing comfortable either. Last couple of days have been 13 to 15 knots out of the southeast, and it's been great. So that's where we're at, and that's your update. Stay tuned. We'll find out what we're gonna do, and there's supposed to be a couple of missile launches we might get to film, and we're gonna do some fishing and basically setting up camp here for a while. So stay tuned and we'll see what happens.